All right, I'll start. Jordan, you ready? So I'll give you a few updates on a couple things. So Archie Gray has turned into a little bit of an ankle injury, and so we're in a situation with his age, and he's still growing, that we have to shut him down for about 6 to 8 weeks. It's a little defect that he has in his ankle that kind of got highlighted when his toe got broke. So it's unfortunate. I spoke to Archie a little bit today. He's obviously down about it, but we think, given his age and his maturity, physical maturity, that this is the best thing for him. Adam Forshaw has been training hard back out on the pitch, and if the Tottenham match were maybe 3 days later, we would consider him probably eligible for the match, but it at least means that he should be ready to, when we get back after the World Cup, to get into training and get himself back to 100%. Stewart's making great progress as well, and we'll see how that goes, but maybe we get him on the pitch at some point towards the end of December, early January. And then Patrick is out for this match, still hasn't recovered. Clicky he took a knee-to-knee knock in the match against Wolves, and he'll be out. And then the other one is Jack Harrison, is a little bit questionable with a muscle strain, but we're hopeful that in the next 24 hours he can recover and be available for tomorrow as well. Good. We'll take some questions.
Hi, Jesse. Back-to-back league wins, dramatic circumstances, fantastic wins, both of them. What have you done to change maybe the resilience within the team, or to build that belief that you can come from 3-1 down against anybody? Is a phenomenal achievement.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking a lot internally, and now I guess externally, about being winners. That in a lot of these matches that we're right in the match, and that the way that the games have gone, that it's often very even, and we have to be more poised to capitalize on those situations and stay strong and stable, even though the match can open up a little bit more in the second half. It can be a little bit more fragile defensively, but it also means that the opponent is a little bit more vulnerable in those moments, and that's what was good to see, is in both of those matches that we were able to capitalize, and we looked in those matches like we were going to win.
You've got 3 players going to the World Cup. It's the last round of games before the World Cup. How much of a concern might it be, not just for you, but maybe you've discussed this with your fellow Premier League managers, that the last weekend before the World Cup, nobody wants to get injured?
Yeah, I mean, listen, of course, with our 3 guys, we want them to have a great World Cup and have a great experience there. I always think as a player, the way to get injured is to play to not get injured. And I think that Rasmus, Tyler, and Brendan have all committed to the games fully and have their minds fully grounded in what's necessary for us in this last match. And I think they also know that will prepare them the best for the World Cup. So with us, some teams have 10 guys, 15, 20. Man City, I don't know. They, maybe their entire squad. But for us, I think, the first part is we're happy for those 3 guys. They've been playing at a very high level. We're disappointed for a lot of our other guys that maybe just missed out barely. Guys like Rodri and Diego today, they found out that they weren't in. I think Robin has had such a good season so far that he was a possibility for Germany. Patrick and Jack were on the 50-man squad. Even Pascal was in the squad. Clicky winds up not making it, a bit of a surprise. So, we're disappointed for those guys, and we want our guys to the other 3 to stay focused right now and then have a great World Cup.
A couple of questions we're asking all the managers today. First of all, who do you think will win the World Cup, and why?
Okay.
And then the other one is, well, I'll ask you the other one after.
I don't care. And why I don't care, because I find international football interesting, but I'm fully immersed in club football, and they're like 2 different sports almost. So, again, I just want our guys to do well. So that maybe the USA. Should I pick the USA to win?
Well, that answer might impact your answer to this. How do you see the USA games going against England and Wales?
Listen, I think all of us Americans, first of all, are very optimistic about our team. And our talent, our young talent. The group is manageable, but not easy. And then I think everyone in the U.S., anytime we play England, everyone gets really excited. So I will be watching that match. I will be cheering for the U.S. And I know it will take their absolute best performance to have a chance. But I think that's one of the things that's uniquely American is that sense of fearlessness. And we almost thrive and enjoy the moments when the things are the hardest and when everyone expects us to lose. So we'll see. Won't be easy. I'm looking forward to it.
Jesse, on the Americans, Brendan and Tyler spoke to them yesterday, and Tyler particularly said, look, don't know any other way than 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So they haven't got a choice how they attack this game against Spurs, have they?
Yeah.
So there is no other way, is there?
No, they know that. You know, and we made strategically we made the decision to not travel a lot of our players that we thought would be playing in this match against Tottenham to keep them fresh, to keep them ready mentally, physically, and to give us the best chance to go down there and give our best effort to get the 3 points. I think that they've been really sharp this week. Even I came back Thursday, you know, we were all a little tired from travel and everything else, but then coming back, you could see the freshness in the group that had slept well and was ready for the match on Saturday, and training was really good, and I expect them to push and be ready.
You've got three guys you mentioned that are definitely going to the World Cup. Others might go depending on injuries. And
Yeah, a lot can still happen, you're right.
But you've still got to manage the disappointment of those that haven't gone. Probably Mateusz Klicker's the biggest name that hasn't been picked. How do you manage that, and how does that not... And to make sure it doesn't affect the rest of the season when they come back? Well,
it was funny. I mean, it was a little bit of a roller coaster for Klicky in the last week. Like about a week ago, he felt he was out. Like there was communication going around Poland, and so he felt he was out. And then a few days ago, they were still deliberating, I think, on the squad, and then maybe he heard that there was maybe a chance. And then by the time I spoke to him on match day against Wolves, when the announcement was coming out, he kind of figured that he was probably out again. So there was a couple things happening internally in Poland, one of which is the manager came from the youth team, one of the 21s or the 19s team or something like that, and he's more comfortable taking more of the younger players. And so that kind of left Klicky in an awkward situation. But, you know, I mean, if you know Klicky, he's a positive guy. He's a guy that loves football. Obviously, he's disappointed. Everyone wants to go to the World Cup, but his mindset and his mentality to be in the moment here and give everything to us has been really good.
Against Spurs, Willie Nonto, are we expecting him to start? But Jackie Howson has a problem, you say, or a muscle problem, and he played midweek. Is there a good chance that Willie Nonto might?
Yeah, I think if it seems a little bit questionable, then Willie becomes a real possibility. I think Sam Greenwood as well played really well when he came off the bench. So it's a little bit what tactic we decide to use. You know, and is Willie a better fit or is Sam a better fit to supplement what we would require from Jack? But regardless, I think that both played really well against Bournemouth. Both played well when they came on against Wolves, and I know that both will be ready.
And just wonder, you got any more details of plans once Saturday night's over?
They will all have a week off. Then we give them a physical program for another week to do on their own, so they will have 2 weeks off, but the first week they do absolutely nothing. Then we come back at the 28th here, and we do testing, and then still James won't allow me to be as open as I want to be with. When I have information, I usually give it to you guys. So, but that's not what I'm supposed to do.
We'll ask you again, Sat.
Okay, but but we have a good plan, and I think we have some good opponents, and it'll be, and then we'll have most of our team together, which is a positive.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hi, Jesse. Just want to go back to the team that played against Wolves, including the 4 debutants, 3 of them youngsters. How important is it for them to have that pathway into the first team, and how pleased were you with the 3 guys that I think played a very good game?
Yes.
Result aside.
Yes, I agree with you completely. I think that Matteo, Sonny, and Darko all played very well. I wasn't surprised. We've worked diligently with all of our young players, really all of our players, with the individual development plans, with trying to communicate with them through video and statistics on ways that they can improve, how in training the things that we want to try to achieve with them. And the most important thing for young players, I think, is to just show them belief. And we've done that. And I give credit to Scoobs and Pudge and the 21s coaches and coaching staff and the environment that they've created there and how they've really attached themselves to what we're trying to do with the first team. And I think it gives a real pathway for all these young players to see that they can be first-team players for Leeds United. So that was a big moment for them, for us. And again, I was really disappointed with, especially given the way we played. It's that we could have easily won that game. We maybe should have. Again, it's another game where somehow we find a way to lose it instead of finding a way to win it. And that's a little bit where we are with the team we are and the youth that we have, that we're still a little naive in certain moments. But we believe in a lot of the things we're doing here. We believe in our players, and we're going to keep pushing to get better and again, make them all winners.
Like yourselves, Tottenham suffered a defeat in that competition. What are you expecting from Tottenham and Antonio Conte at the weekend?
I mean, Conte in general doesn't always do a lot of rotation. He has a group that he works intensively with and almost protects very carefully. I know from even he's traveled to the U.S. many times with different teams, Juventus or whatever, and he's known as one of the guys that keeps a closed environment more than anyone else that comes when they make these tours of the U.S. So this is his leadership style. I think in the moment that Tottenham has had a lot of games. They've rotated a little bit, but not that much. They have such a quality squad. Playing at home, they're always good, and what an incredible stadium and fan base they have. So we know that this is a big challenge once again against the top opponent in our league that is disciplined to play the way that they want to play. But the beauty of where we are is we are not perfect, but we are also not afraid. We have shown that this year, that we are not afraid of top opponents. And for sure, we are going to go down to Tottenham, and we are going to play confidently, and we are going to go after the game in every way.
Finally, from me, Adam touched on this in terms of after this game, you've got the World Cup break. Is that a help? Is it a hindrance with the last two league results? And is it like a mini pre-season again for the players that are left behind?
No, it is. I mean, the season in general has been quite segmented. I think any chances to have a little bit of a pause are always a chance to reevaluate, to gather ourselves mentally and physically, to really go full gas at it again. That's the way we will use it. What you know in football in general is that the mental grind can sometimes be bigger than the physical one. And I think in this league, and maybe with all the guys in this room here, you make it even more so. No, I don't. You guys are fair enough, but this is the reality. It's that the attention to this league and the attention to the pressure of the expectation of our club and everything means that any kind of break that we can gather to sort of recharge our batteries and make sure that when we go at it all the way, because that's what the demands are. So I think it'll be a good chance for us to gather the national team, the World Cup guys. You know, I think they'll be ready as well. And then when we get back at it, we have some big challenges ahead of ourselves again.
I'll speak for all of us to say, enjoy the break.
Okay, thank you. You too.
How much is Joel pushing Ilan this season? And is this the first time in a while that he's really been challenged as the number one?
I mean, I wouldn't really be able to speak much on how it has always gone in the past, but Ilan is our number one. Like, there's no doubt. However, our idea was to get Joel, let's start from square one. We wanted a veteran goalkeeper to come in to help push our young goalkeepers and competitively every day, and to help provide a little bit more experience as to what the position can look like with savviness and understanding and controlling of the match through that position. And then a guy that knew what the role was and could commit to it all the way in a selfless manner. And I've told Joel from like the third week that he was here that I could see he was the perfect guy, and that we made an absolutely fantastic decision to bring him here. And I've encouraged him to continue to be himself, to integrate himself, to be a leader in the group, to certainly help Ilan and Chris, but to also push them. And I think he's done that perfectly, literally perfectly. And I thought the match he played against Wolves showed all of his qualities, which isn't just his technical and tactical ability, but his feel of the game. I thought was incredible. So this, to me, is what young goalkeepers need, right? They need to understand how to manipulate a game in a way to be in control of every moment. So it'll be important for Ilan and for Chris to they've accepted him really well. I think he's challenged them, but I think it's been in a real positive way, and I think it'll be key for them to learn from him.
What's the situation with Cody, who wasn't involved in midweek? Could we see him go out in January?
The plan was to have him in the squad, and he said he wasn't physically ready. He said he felt he was injured, so then we didn't put him in the squad.
Hi, Jesse. I just wanted to ask, whenever a young player sort of shows his talent in the under-21s or whatever, there's always a clamour from fans and the media to throw him in as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I just wondered how you sort of assess when a player like that is ready to make the step up to Premier League football.
Yeah, we first, one of the challenges is between the 21s and the Prem is that the gap is pretty big, right? Like, even when you see our team defend set pieces against Wolves versus when they're in the 21s, those like physical parts and the mentality moments of what the Premier League is night and day compared to the 21s. The tactical part, the technical part, their ability to fit into the speed of play, they can manage that fairly well. But it's often the power at which the game is played at the highest level that is the biggest challenge. I like giving young players opportunities because I've very seldomly been let down when they've shown that they're making progress, and when, again, you give them belief in themselves and in the process, that typically they overachieve. And then once they overachieve and get the taste of success, that can really motivate them to get even better. I mean, we could use plenty of examples even since I've been here, which is, I mean, the number one right now is Cree. But I think for Matteo, Sonny, and Darko, and you can throw Leo in there. I mean, Leo's played in Prem matches before, but Leo, for me, also had specifically second half, I thought he really grew into the game and played really well. But I consider him more almost part of the first team because he's a little bit, he's not necessarily older, but he's been around it a little bit more and is a little bit more mature from that perspective. But I think, again, all four of those guys have big potential. And then once you add in Cree and Willie and Joffy and Sam, and then you start to feel like we've got a real core of young players that have a chance to be quite good.
And you've obviously mentioned the sort of disappointment for some of your players who've missed the World Cup. I just wonder, with you mentioning about Jack Harrison being on the provisional list, as an uncapped player, do you think that has done a lot of good for his confidence, that he was at least in the thoughts?
Yeah, I think in general, I think all the guys, even that they've been disappointed, processed it in a mature way and knew in some ways that it was a bit of a long shot and wanted to give themselves the best chance by performing well. And, you know, like I spoke to Robin yesterday about it, and that's what I said to him. I said, you did everything you could. Like, it's never easy to accept letting your dreams slip, but the best way to process it is often knowing that you put your best foot forward in every way to give yourself the best chance. And Robin's sort of in that category too. I think he's been called in maybe once. So, you know, and for most of these guys, they're still young enough to be considered yet again. And now the next World Cup's only 3.5 instead of 4 years away. So
it's a kind of strange time to be asking you about January, but by the time we come back, the window will be virtually open.
Yeah.
How much have you spoken about that so far, and what do you think you need?
Yeah, we've spoken a bit. You know, I think in general, whenever I look at windows, I look at it as, you know, sort of piece by piece and window by window. And so, you know, I mean, there's the 2-month project and what we think we need right now, and then what is it, 8 months, and what is 14, and trying to piece together how the cycle will present itself. We have targets. You know, I think we're smart enough to know that in order to achieve our goals, we want to continue to look at every position and think about how we can move forward in the right way. We also know that I think we have some young, talented players that will continue to draw interest. And so trying to figure out how to keep those players, how long we can keep them, what can entice them to stay, and what that means to the pieces that we might need moving forward. I don't want to talk specific about positions. You know, we talked enough about the striker position in the summer, and I don't think that that's gone away. But I think we've been active, and Victor. This is one of the best parts about working with Victor is his clarity on what the market is and what's available and what are good fits for how we're trying to play football is quite good.